Hi, everyone. I wanted to solicit some stories from you guys about high school. Funny things that happened to you, anecdotes, whatever. And no one has been come forth with any. So I told you about Greg Timmons and our scuba adventure. Here's another one. This involved our teacher, Latin teacher, Mr. Kowalik. And it's a funny story. Now, Mr. Kowalik was a nice guy, and he knew my older brother. My older brother had been in high school 4 years before me. Or, he had graduated the year before I went in. So, they knew my older brother, but I'm totally different than my older brother. I was a kind of a real bookworm. If any of you remember me, in freshman year and sophomore year, I was a real nerd. Back then I was hanging out with guys like Bob Mursky and Andy Prasnell because they were bookworms too, in my opinion, anyway. But at any rate, we're in Latin 2 in sophomore year. It was the beginning of the year, and I was bugging Mr. Kowalik about something in the book that confused me, and I was trying to get him to help me understand it. He'd always given me good grades. So he got a little annoyed with me because I was being a kind of a nerd and bugging him after class. And he said, now look, you're pushing too hard on this homework stuff, and I want you to back off a little bit. If you don't back off, you're not going to get an A this quarter. I said, are you kidding me? He said, no, I'm not kidding you. He says, now I'm a proctor for the dance in the cafeteria this weekend, and I want you there. And I looked at him like, I'm going, holy crow. I can't believe, I don't know how to dance. I do not know how to dance. I do not know how to ask a girl how to dance or to dance. How do you do that? So that's what I'm thinking, right? And he says, I want you there. I'm going to be a proctor, and I want you there. So I just walked away. I didn't know what to do. So this was like on Wednesday or Tuesday, so I had a few days to get ready for the weekend. So I go home, I tell my mother, and she thought it was very, very humorous. My mother thought it was very funny. And she said, you know what? Why don't you go up the street and talk to our neighbor, Elaine. Now, Elaine is an older girl in our neighborhood, and she's a very sweet lady. And I did. I went up the street and I told Elaine my predicament, and she thought it was comical too. And she said, okay, I'll show you a few dance steps and you'll be fine. So she showed me how to do the waltz, right? She got out her records and picked out a few songs, and she showed me how to do the waltz, and she showed me how to do, a slow dance, and she showed me how to do foxtrot. So I don't even remember any of the steps now. I couldn't do a foxtrot if my life depended on it, but she showed me, and I felt somewhat confident that I was ready for the dance on Friday night. Okay, so I go to the dance on Friday night, and now I get the new shock. Okay, the new shock is this. You go into the cafeteria, and the cafeteria looks totally different now than it does when you're in there during the daytime, because they have removed all the tables, and it's just this big empty room, right? And over in the corner is a band, and all the girls are lined up on one side of the room, and all the boys are on the other side. Okay? Now, in order to get a girl to dance with you, you have to have the brazen guts to walk across the floor all the way to the other side and ask a girl. This was incredible. In fact, the guys used to call that middle space no man's land. Yeah, that's what they used to call it. Because you had to cross no man's land, go over there and ask a girl to dance. Now, of course, there were a lot of cool guys. Who already had girls, they had cigarettes hanging out of their ear. They were really cool guys. They didn't have to worry about this stuff. They had a girl all set up. But the rest of us fools, and this is back like in 1960, what, 4? 63, 64. We had to go across the room and find a girl and ask her. So guys are like taking bets, right? That when you cross to the other side, she's going to say no. And you're going to look like a real dope, right? You're going to look like a complete moron. Because if she says no, then you got to walk all the way back, and all the other guys on this side of the room, what are they going to be doing? They're going to be laughing at you. All right, so this is really, really stressful on a young kid. And I remember it very well. Some of you may have forgotten this stuff, but I didn't. So now I'm looking across the room, and I'm looking at the guys behind me on the line, and they're bigger nerds than I am, but they're taking bets. Yeah, they're betting who's going to go across there and get stood up. All right, so I'm heading across the floor now because Mr. Kowalik is over on my left, and he's looking at me like, get over there and ask a girl to dance. So, I did it. I'm walking across the middle of the room. The guys behind me are like watching, and the girls are watching as you're approaching them, right? The girls are over there too. They're taking bets too. And they're watching as you're approaching. So I'm heading for naturally the prettiest girl there, right? I mean, that's just the nature of it. You head for the prettiest girl. But then, as I get halfway across, on my right, I see a big, tall, fat girl. She was a monster. I mean, she like Amazonian, remember, that one, it's over when the fat lady sings? That was her. So I head over to her. Now the pretty girls are looking at me like, you dirtbag, they're giving me dirty looks because I swerved. I swerved away from them and went to the big girl. Because I'm thinking, there's no way this big girl is going to turn me down. Right? I mean, this big girl is not going to say no. Nobody else is going to ask her to dance. Bingo, I got the first dance. The guys behind me lost the bet. The pretty girls all hate me now because I swerved away from them and went to the big girl, and they got stood up. And that's my funny story. I'll never forget it. It was hysterical to me even today. And Mr. Kowalik was all happy because I danced, and he didn't bug me anymore that year. If you've got a funny story, I want to hear it. Bye.